On the world news tonight from Babarbagede Imo Television, first the headlines. FG to Obi, Tinubu not insensitive to Nigerians. No more limits, CBN make changes on access, GTB, UBA, other banks' savings accounts. NLC-TUC members ground activities at Abuja Airport. 36 Nigerians deported from Sweden arrive Abuja. Cement prices, Northern elders speak on Dangote Rabiu Reef. And on sports, Arsenal goalkeeper one step closer to playing for Super Eagles gets Nigerian passport. I am Morire Rabiu the news in detail. The federal government has countered a claim by the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, that President Bola Tinubu is uncaring and insensitive to the suffering of Nigerians. A day after Tinubu signed into law the 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget, Obi had taken to his ex-handle, claiming that the president failed to consider certain emergencies and pressing needs of the country. The LP presidential candidate said that the ongoing and the manner that budgetary allocations were done, Tinubu was obviously unaware of the dire crisis in the country. But in a swift response, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said the budget is not insensitive, but rather a bold and pragmatic response to the pressing and economic challenges Nigeria currently faces. On Thursday's statement, the minister urged Obi to take the time and effort to acquaint himself with the details of the supplementary budget, which includes allocations for essential sectors, security, agriculture and food security, works and housing, wage increase for workers, student loan scheme, and social safety nets, among others, all aimed at strengthening the country's economic foundations and improve the living conditions of all Nigerians. It was asked the opposition to be informed and balanced in the exercise of their right to differing opinions and refrain from misrepresentation of facts and political gains, explaining that the supplementary budget was derived from the active engagement and consultation with relevant stakeholders to ensure that the budgetary provisions align with the needs and expectations of all Nigerians. The Central Bank of Nigeria's decision to remove the limit placed on the standing deposit facility is good for new banks. Before this decision, commercial banks were not allowed to deposit more than 2 billion naira daily with the CBN. The SDF is like a savings account for banks at the central bank. Banks can deposit extra money there and the central bank pays them interest. It is one of the measures the Apex Bank used to control how much money is available in the banking system and influence interest rates. Leadership information, according from the CBN, removed the limit on SDF that net deposit of banks at the CBN window have now soared to 2.3 trillion naira in October 2023 as against a monthly average net borrowing of about 1.4 trillion naira recorded. On this path, Access Bank, United Bank, of for Africa, Zenith Bank, and other commercial banks have been exploring the CBN deposit window to earn more. Based on the last monetary policy meeting held in July 2023, a deposit on SDF attracts interest at about 15.75%, with a symmetric corridor of plus 100 / minus 300 basis points around the 18.75% rate. This means more money in interest for the banks as they deposit their excess cash with the CBN. Members of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) on Thursday grounded activities at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. The move is part of actions by the unions following an attack on the president of the NLC, Ajaero, in Imo State. The protesters, however, started a state issue has now taken a national undertone as the protesting units and unionists stormed the venue around 8:58 a.m., grounding aviation activities in one of the country's busiest airports. They were at the airport to halt flights going to Owerri, the Imo State capital, while security operatives prevented them from entering the airport. The protesters blocked the airport entry and exit routes, leaving hundreds of passengers stranded. Many of them abandoned their vehicles and instead trekked. Organized labor actions as level development is the latest on the face-off between the Labour and the Imo State government, which the unions are accused of using police officers to assault the NLC president. While police authorities in the state have denied involvement in the assault, which the government accusing Ajero of meddling in politics, organized labor declared a nationwide strike for November 14, 2023. Critics and observers say the move would throw an ailing economy into more turmoil, but the NLC and TUC insist it would go ahead with industrial action if the government failed to meet its demands, which included the resignation of police officials. The federal government has received 36 Nigerian migrants deported from Sweden. The migrants were received yesterday at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja by officials of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons. The returnees were given dignity kits consisting of diapers, toothpaste, shirts, towels, toothpaste, toothbrush, slippers, creams, and bags, as well as 158,000 naira stipend each, courtesy of IRARA. Their return was facilitated by International Returns and Reintegration Assistance. Speaking on what led to the deportation of the returnees, the Director of Migrant Affairs of the Commission, Ambassador Catherine Udida, said usually they would have been contacted and informed that their visa had expired or they had overstayed. They would have been informed to leave, and if thereafter one or two trials they are given the opportunity to return and they, the migrants, refuse to return, then the country starts processing their deportation because it is different from those who come back voluntarily. On the faith of the deportees, she said, we have profiled them and identified those who are vulnerable, in addition to taking them to the hotel for a few days to understand what the real issues are. We will follow up with referrals. The Northern Elders Forum has expressed concern over the ongoing rift between renowned businessmen of northern extraction, Alhaji Aliko Dangote and Abdul Samad Rabiu of Boa Company. The Northern Elders also said it's disturbed by the Cold War between the former governor of Zamfara State, Bello Mutawalli, and his successor, Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State, and called on the politicians to embrace peace. Information reported that there are conflicts between Dangote and the Isiaku Rabiu over cement prices, as well as a rift between Governor Dauda Lawal and Bello Mohammed Mutawalli over the latter's administration as governor between 2019 and 2023. In a statement titled Press Statement Calling for Restraint and Understanding Among Northern Political and Business Leaders, on Wednesday, the convener of NEL, Professor Ango Abdullahi, alleged that the development was affecting the region's economic and political stability. He added that the region needed collaboration rather than crisis among major players of the region. The Northern Elders leader urged the conflicting parties to reconsider their ongoing conflict and refocus on securing and improving the lives of the people of the North. The current conflict between Aliko Dangote and Abdul Samad Isiaku Rabiu over cement prices, as well as the conflict of interest between Governor Dauda Lawal and Zamfara former governor, who is now Defense Minister, Bello Mohammed Mutawalli, are exacerbating the challenges faced by the northern region in terms of security and the economy. A police officer with a career spanning 18 years has been found guilty of misconduct after he and a colleague preyed on a drunk woman in a patrol car. A PC, Matthew Longmate, was on duty with a PC Daniel Nash in Chesterfield Centre in Derbyshire, UK, when they offered the victim a lift home after an incident at the bar. Southwark Crown Court held that Nash, who is now dead, had admitted using his job to pursue a relationship with 13 women, including victims of domestic violence. In his testimony, he said that Longmate, 47, had also been involved in an incident in the vehicle. Longmate denied the accusation but was found guilty after a 4-day trial in London. Longmate, in his defense, said that it would have been physically impossible to have a threesome in a patrol car. Jurors were told that our two preyed on the drunken woman after she was thrown out of the association of her own. In a pre-recorded police interview played to the court, she could not recall actually giving consent to Nash and Longmate. I remember, as information goes, both officers were in uniform, and she recalled getting into the back seat of the car with Nash, who started flirting with her. You are watching the world news from Baba Gbagede Imo Television. Next to come. The Kwara Fire Service has recovered the corpse of a lady, Waliya, from a domestic well in Ilorin West local government area of the state. The incident occurred around 6 p.m. on Tuesday, 23 November 7th at Ileolodo Itameri Alori area of Ilorin. According to information, the lady suddenly jumped into the well to be bewilderment of some residents shortly after having a friendly conversation with neighbors in the compound. Spokesperson of the service, Asen Akim Adekunle, who confirmed the incident in a statement on Wednesday, said the recovered corpse has been handed over to a family. The incident happened at the said location tragically as Wuliya took her own decision. The dedicated personnel of the Kwara State Fire Service successfully recovered a lifeless body and respectfully handed it over to Alhaji Adisa Akanbi, Magaji of the family Itameri Ilorin. Reacting to the sad incident, Director of the service, Prince Falade John, stressed the importance of safety consciousness to the general public. Another information coming from 40-year-old Alex Moyaya met his tragic death in the country's Gaeta region on Sunday, November 5th, reports say. Before his death, he had been in a celebratory mood and engaged in a drinking spree to commemorate his team, Yanga Sports' victory over long-time rival Simba. After fierce battle, Yanga defeated Simba in the Tanzanian Premier League 5-1 during his celebration. Moyaya went to a spare parts shop in the drunken state. The guards saw him taking off 2 motorcycle tires from the shop and came down on right-hand side. The police in the country have arrested the security guards to assist in their investigation into the incident. Safia Jango, the police commander in Gaeta, confirmed the incident and arrest of Maya security guards. The guards shot their boss thinking he was an armed robber. Maya was rendered unconscious by the guards, but they did not take him right away to the hospital. After spending the entire night with him, they transported him to a local hospital where it was determined he has passed away. Even before the investigation is concluded, the police believe that the security guards took the law into their hands and have questions to answer. Moving on to the next story. The Supreme Court of Minnesota on Wednesday refused to grant a petition seeking to ban Donald Trump from contesting the 2024 Republican presidential primary. Information understands that some stakeholders had approached the court seeking to stop Trump from appearing 2024 Republican presidential primary ballot in the state. They based their argument on the grounds that he violated his oath of office by engaging in an insurrection, the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol by his supporters. However, their request was denied by the court in a ruling given by Chief Justice Nathaniel Hudson. The argument rests on an amendment to the Constitution ratified after the 1861-65 Civil War. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment bars anyone from holding public office if they engage in insurrection or rebellion after once having pledged to support and defend the Constitution. Ratified in 1868, the amendment was aimed at preventing supporters of the slave-holding Confederacy from being elected to Congress or form holding federal positions. Citing the 14th Amendment, a group of voters in Minnesota petitioned the state Supreme Court to keep Trump off the ballot for the Republican presidential primary to be held in March and the presidential election to be held in November. And to sports story. Wrexham coach Phil Parkinson has praised goalkeeper Arthur Okonkwo for his superb debut in the English 3rd Division. Parkinson went on to commend Arthur Okonkwo for his shot blocking skills and asserted that he has real potential to become a top-tier goalie. Recall that Okonkwo joined the top-tier club on loan from Arsenal after the club's goalkeeper, Ben Foster, decided to retire after just 4 games due to a dismal start to the season. The 22-year-old was high demand after attracting interest from other European clubs while on loan at Storm Graz and Crewe Alexandra. He has made 9 appearances in all competitions so far for Wrexham, conceding 8 goals and recording 4 clean sheets. Going on to the second sports story this hour. The Nigeria Football Federation (NFF), alongside the head coach of the senior national team, Jose Pesaro, are putting their effort to bring an end to the goalkeeper crisis rocking the team. Ahead of next year's Africa Cup of Nations, all 3 senior goalkeepers of the senior national team of Nigeria don't have the total trust of the coach to be first choice, as they all have been guilty of dropping orders when called upon. For now, Francis Uzoho has the faith of the coach, but his lack of game time at his Cyprus club, Nomosia Akosa, is a huge concern. The same situation that ex-number 1 Maduka Okoye is facing at Udinese. Moving on to the next story, continuing the sports story, Adebayo, who is also the one who enjoyed regular run of games in Israel with Apple Jerusalem, don't seem to have the fate of a coach, and it has prompted a search for other options. One of the players is on loan Arsenal goalkeeper Ato Okonkwo. His progress is that one has been tracked by Pesero himself, and now head to the technical department of the NFL, Austin Eguavoen, has joined in his pursuit. Okonkwo returned to Arsenal after a hugely successful spell in Austria with Sturmgrass, but with no chance of getting regular games, he was shipped out on loan again, but this time around to League Two side Rapsturm. But the sports story will come to the end of today's world news. Before we go, some major headlines. FG to Obi, Tinubu not insensitive to Nigerians. No more limits, CBN make changes to on-access GTB, UBA, other bank savings accounts. 36 Nigerians deported from Sweden arrive Abuja. Cement prices, Northern Elder speaks on Dangote Rabiu rifts. On sport, we brought to you Arsenal goalkeeper one step closer to playing for Super Eagles, gets Nigerian passport. For updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is Baba Bagade Imo Television. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Bagade Imo with Alawi Adibayo. Please like and follow the page. For advert placement of goods and services, coverage of events and function, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen. Thank you for watching. I am Mo Radila Lawal. Good evening.